I did want to hear about your. So, yeah, I did want to hear about where you were in Death Stranding. You said you did get caught by a BT. That's
And so basically, I went back to Capital Knot City.
and
So I
chapter
so I
three
loaded up
begins. Yeah.
with all the cargo they gave me to take to Port Knot, and then I got caught by a BT and what I assume was a
Hmm.
totally scripted encounter of like, hey, we just gave you the hermetic grenades, and now you need to test them.
Yeah, there's like three distribution centers in that area, and then there's one like sort of outpost. And so the
Yeah.
one outpost has the little radar thing above it, and that that's a normal sort of thing. But the distribution centers, so yeah, you should be able to go there. So going from Capital Knot to the distribution center, the west or whatever, south, I don't know. I think it's west, and there's a BT zone right after Capital Knot, and then right before the distribution center. So you got caught right before the distribution center.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
okay.
I it felt scripted to me because when I went the other way just before this, it was smooth sailing. And then as soon as I get the hermetic grenades, they're
Right.
like, "Damn, we should better test these out." And then as soon as I pull up to that area, like everything slows down and like
Oh,
I don't know if there's a calm of like it's time to test those out, but
so,
and I tested
so
one out and
yeah.
like nailed him, and he kind of fizzled away. But then another one got me,
Okay,
and that was the
okay.
first time I was pulled under and taken,
Oh yes. Oh
and then
yes.
like
Okay.
this big whale thing with like
Right.
a air mouth
With a what?
just like started like what. And actually, I thought it was cool though how the whole like area starts flooding
Yeah. Yeah.
like dark water.
Yeah, the
But yeah,
tar, yeah.
he nailed me and I was dead. So I
Oh,
just
so he ate you? He ate you?
yeah, he ate me,
Okay,
and I
so
had to repatriate,
you what? So you got
and then
avoided?
I had to repatriate, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
And then once I
Um
did, my cargo was like in the red, so I just reloaded because I was like, wait, no, I can't
yeah.
have another 50%.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. So I mean, I'm pretty sure what would have happened there is, so if you got eaten, a void out occurs, and you can't actually go in that area anymore. So I don't know if that should have happened to you actually. So whenever you repatriate, you're gonna actually go in that area because just like a normal void out, that area just basically explodes, and so whenever you come back you can't even go in that area anymore. It never happened to me, but yeah, I've seen videos where it does happen. So yeah, so typically you don't want to get caught, and so when you get pulled under, I mean, yeah, so you get pulled somewhere, and the trick, basically is to like, is to, how if you hold down the triggers you'll be more stable.
Yeah,
So you should do that and then just constantly mash the jump button. It's kind of a weird trick, but it does kind of work. And just go, away from the whale or whatever the large BT is. But you just have to like jump on the rocks because that'll give you the most sort of like running potential. And
yeah,
so if you do that, I mean, I think you will have a much easier time of escaping. And you can actually hold one trigger down for like little. It's not totally stable, but it's a little bit stable, and
right.
so, and you can run at a little bit faster rate too, so you can kind of vary that to make it out of the black goo. And if you do that, all the BTs in that area disappear, and then you're golden for the next probably like, whatever amount of time, 10 minutes, whatever it is that you need to, for whatever you need to do. So yeah, it sucks that that happened.
Because the scanner's very directional.
Right. Yeah.
So I think I was just like hitting R1 to scan, but not facing where the Ultra deck was pointed.
Yeah, so yeah, because like wherever you're looking, whenever you hit R1, that's where the Ultra Deck scans it, and
Yeah,
so I don't know exactly when the BTs show up on the scanner, but it's like, if you're looking in that particular direction, then, and then if you hit the scanner, there's a chance, I guess, a probability of it showing up. I don't know exactly. It's like one in every three scans or something like that. So if it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's something like that. But it's like, if you see it blinking fast, what I normally do is I just hold my breath immediately and just either try to walk past it. If it's really close, you'll see the ultra deck kind of moving, like sort of circling around it as you're moving forward, and that means that you're basically passing. Actually, when I did that quest, or that package, when I was doing that package, I did it on foot because I there's actually a BT area in between the distribution center and the Port Knot City, and it's like covered in trees. And then it's a little bit further up. Like after you get to the distribution center, you go like south or something like that through
Yeah, yeah.
this like yeah through the hills,
West.
and then there's a forest, and then in wait, so you drove it through the forest?
No, no, no.
Okay, okay, yeah.
This is
So and
all distribution center.
yeah, and so you know what I'm talking about. So there's that forest. It's not the same forest as the Windfall Farm, but
Yeah.
it's another forest, but it's there. And so yeah, I mean, I after I saw that, I mean, it was a BT area. I didn't want to drive through it, so I parked it, and then I just went by foot, and it's way easier to go through by foot. So yeah, so just for next time, I mean, if there's a way around that area, like in some of the areas before and after the distribution center, you can always just drive around them and then avoid the BT area entirely, and then you're good. Like
Well,
going,
I think
yeah,
that's set up intentionally because that BT area is also the only flat area that you could drive on. Because I think
yeah.
this is all sheer cliffs.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, and you can't even drive in those anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's probably to prevent like I don't know, like having too much fun with the vehicles or something like that. I don't know what Kojima was thinking. Like, give us more fun, man. But no, it kind of makes sense. Like where the BT areas of place do make sense. Like I mean,
So here's an initial like I don't want to like call it a criticism, but an initial
yeah.
thing that will be a criticism if nothing changes by the end of the game.
Okay,
But the
okay.
fact that both BTs and mules are this sort of like nefarious force that both can identify you and zero in on you and come and chase you. You
Right.
know, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of variety there, right? BTs are just mules that are invisible.
But I think the way that they behave is pretty uniquely different. I mean, I mean the mules. I mean they have weapons. They can throw things at you. The BTS can only really do one thing, and that's grab you with the I don't know what you want to call them, the floating feet or whatever, the tar stuff that floats out of the ground. And
What's
so,
interesting is that sort of dichotomy exists in five too, right? You have the regular soldiers, and then you have parasite soldiers, which can do all the sorts of supernatural
the parasite
stuff.
soldiers.
Which I don't know if you've gotten to them yet.
Oh,
And
in Metal Gear. Oh
yeah,
man, no, I'm only on I think mission like 6 or 7. Actually, I tried mission 10, and then
explicitly have to stealth past like parasite soldiers,
okay,
and it's very reminiscent of stealthing past BTs,
yeah,
and it's much more like it puts you much more on edge because they have essentially supernatural spotting abilities
uh huh,
versus
yeah.
soldiers, which are just like cone of visions.
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay. So, yeah, and I think I mean there is a lot of that. Like actually what was completely like sort of uncanny to me is how the mechanics, the stealth mechanics in Metal Gear Solid are they feel a lot like the mechanics in Death Stranding, which I mean makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. But I mean like the stealth mechanics they're almost like in a lot of ways. If you can play this game, then if you can play Metal Gear Solid, then you definitely can play the stealth in Death Stranding. And so I thought that was interesting, and that's a really good point. I mean, I haven't gotten to the Parasite Soldiers, but I imagine that there is probably a lot of similarities between them.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. You'll feel it. Especially there's one mission, I forget which one I'm thinking about, but basically it's like at night and you're ambushed by parasite soldiers and you
yeah.
have to pass them, and it's probably one of the hardest segments of the game, but
Okay.
it's also super satisfying once you get through.
I was
but,
also yeah.
but I was gonna say, yeah, like in terms of like stealth carrying over, like that first mule camp you have to raid and go get that chiral printer.
Oh
Like
yeah.
fucking flew through that just because it felt so it felt
I
so
I really I because I didn't play so much Metal Gear, I feel like I didn't really like going into the mule camps the entire game. Like I didn't really go into them very much. I did every now and then, just to like finish like the basic sort of things that I needed to get to do certain things. Like you'll see it in chapter 3 what I'm talking about. But I connected certain people to the chiral network, simply because I mean, like I had to like do things with the mules to connect them up, and so those were the only times that I really ever went into the mule camps. And I think really the mules were harder for me to understand than the BTS, because the BTs, I mean, you interact with them pretty frequently, and there's a sort of weird muscle memory where I just play off, like releasing the breath thing and just sort of maneuvering around them, and it just sort of works. It's not super difficult, in my opinion. It's not super difficult after a while. After going through those areas enough, it feels okay. But with the mule camps, I have a lot of trouble like understanding how to like steal from them and things like that. So the
Which
one
interesting. Yeah, with the mules, it's like it clicked immediately of like, oh fucking, I'll just go around, come in from the back. There's this one mule on a bench right next to the post box, but he's looking the other way, so I just snuck up
nice,
right
dude.
behind him, opened the box, took all their shit, and then went out the same route. What was really cool
That's pretty
about
good.
the Mule Camp Death Stranding experience compared to like Metal Gear Solid 5 infiltrating enemy camps
Mhm.
was the fact that I was able to go around on a cliff and then rappel down right
Oh
behind
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. You mentioned
And
this.
then,
You
and
mentioned this.
then yeah, and then take that rope back up. Like that's sort of like geographical or yeah, just the tools with geography you get
Right,
there
right, right. It gives
make
you a
make it
lot more options.
yeah, yeah. Because like Metal Gear 5 has a lot of options, but none where you can really like manipulate the environment like that.
Right, right, right. And I think that's what's really cool.